Good evening, popular astronomers. What is this craziness? It's Thursday night. Oh, what's this? Oh, so we're testing it on a Thursday night to see how the internet is. And if you know my tribulations, you'll know that randomly I live on a holiday park, and the tourists come on Friday nights, and so the park is completely empty today. So I've got the little thing up in the corner of my screen that's saying that the internet might not be good. Can you let me know how this looks, please? It'd be nice to know that you are out there. While people are commenting and getting their thoughts together, I shall play the intro and let more people join the stream. But yeah, let me know how am I looking. Am I looking like I'm on CFAX again, like I was last Friday? Hey, good evening, popular astronomers. How are you? Let's have a look at the comment we have got. Oh, I need to know this internet. I did freeze for 10 seconds right at the start. That's just what I need. Maybe that was just a little one-off glitch. Much better tonight, Sonia is saying. Oh my God, thank God. Oh, thank God. Please. Hi, Vicky, not bad at the moment. Give Cosmo my regards. He's moved. Look, I finally figured out after nearly a year of doing this show that Cosmo, who's featuring quite heavily tonight, can actually sit on the microphone and be propped up on it. Did you know he could do that? I did not know that naughty little sloth could do such a thing. So Sandra's saying I look better than last Friday and still a little jumpy. I apologize. We're working on it. Hopefully we can find the answer to the eternal problem of my life. Better than last week. Okay. Well, we're just going to crack on like the true professional that I allegedly am. What do you think, Cosmo? Shall we carry on? Yeah, because all these lovely popular astronomers are joining us on a Thursday night and taking an hour out of their life to join us. So let's start. Plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug, plug the mug. What's in it this week? In it this week is just some water, but thankfully I'm just opening my windows on my laptop. I had to close my computer seconds before we came on air, and now Word is not opening. So let's go open recents. Pop Astro Live, please. Hope it saved my script. Yes, it did. Thank you, Word. At least we can rely on Word. Do you remember when Word documents never used to save and they just disappear on your computer? So if you have joined us, I'm going to make a little, I'm sorry, I'm doing IT live while we speak now because all my Word documents that I've been working on just popping up all over the screen. Yeah, save. Great. Share the video, please. We get lots of viewers and it's really great when you share this video, just whatever platform you're watching on, be it Facebook, be it YouTube, be it, what's the other one? Twitter. Give it a share. Help us proliferate the word of the society. The more you hit the share button, the higher our algorithm goes. It's something like within the first couple of seconds, the algorithms deem whether a video is popular or not. So the more you share this right now, the higher we'll go, and the more the good word of the SPA will proliferate. So I'm going to also ask a little favor. If you're watching this show for the third time and you're not a member of the SPA, do consider joining us and supporting us. It's an absolute snippety snip at £23 a year, and you get to keep Cosmo in spaceships. There we go. Look, Cosmo. So join in with the conversation this evening. I want to know what telescope you've got. Just put all your details. I want you to have a telescope geek out. Drop it into the comments and we'll post it on screen, and I'll judge who's got the best one. So tonight, popular astronomers, we are off on a hunt for moon trees. It is a historical and rather cosmic mystery that you could help solve. To help us hunt for the magical moon trees, we've got Robert Massey and Alexandra Loske. Alexandra is an art historian and curator at the Royal Pavilion and Brighton Museums. Robert is an astronomer and deputy executive astronomer at the director at the Royal Astronomical Society. Eleni is here with the space news, space weather, and space traffic and travel. Now, do you know what happened last week? When Eleni wasn't on, we didn't get an aurora alert, and there were aurora visible from North Wales. And I know that Tracy Snellis, who's a very prolific astronomer, was up on the Great Orme in Llandudno, and she got a beautiful purple band on the horizon. And that was only a couple of hours after I'd finished on air. This is why Eleni is so important to us. So Sonia, our new weather presenter, has her meticulously compiled observing forecast. She's had her photograph in the Popular Astronomy magazine this month, which we will be showing off later. And Cosmo, the telescope sloth, is getting really excited. He is getting excited because he wants to go and swing on a moon tree, don't you, Cosmo? So let's have a look what's happening. Oh, Ian, I hope your eye operation is a huge success because you're such an... I need to open the window. You are such an avid contributor to this show, and we are all wishing you so well with your operation. What telescope are you thinking of getting? John Clark, 8-inch Meade LX90 and Canon image stabilized binoculars. Oh my God, I've only ever used image stabilizer binoculars once. They're like something off Star Trek. Wow. My friends had them, Owen and Liz Gwynn at Mid Cheshire Astro, and magic. I would love a pair of those Canon image stabilized binoculars. I want to stand next to you at the next observing session we go to, and I will just hog them off you. You might have beaten my 10-inch Dob there. The reflect. I can't do anything about the ring light. I'm sorry about that, Graham. I just can't do anything about it unless I poke the lens of my glasses out or get contact lenses, which don't agree with my eyes. It's my only light that I have got. I'm sorry. Just pretend it's a halo. Or what is it? What was the 60s program where the letter O's used to go across? I can't remember now. I'm sorry about the reflection. Maybe I could alter it, actually. Let me just see if I can get rid of it. I might be able to lift it up and tilt it down. Hello, Johnny. Hello. I'm just on air. I've got a visitor. Should we see whether that's any better? Maybe that's better. A little bit better. The ring is now like directly above me, like a sunbed. Sky, Mr. Ons, that's it. Skywatcher Star Travel 102, go to Refractor and Skywatcher 8-inch Dob. Captain Scarlet, they're coming for me. The Mr. Ons are coming for me. You all right there, Johnny? Okay, you're just coming to join in the fun. Do you want to be in the audience? I'm in the audience. I've got an audience tonight. You're my first ever audience. In the ring light. Sonia Turkington, yes, at least you'd have less to look about. Yeah, Captain Scarlet. Is that a bit better? I do try for you, popular astronomers. I do try for you. Okay, so we are... I had something to tell you. I've got lots of things to tell you. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Just check my microphone is on the right setting. There's so much to think about when you do this show. And if you walk away from the computer and it resets, everything just speaker. Yeah, I'm coming through the big microphone. That is good. Good. Okay. Why is the start of the show never easy? Naga Monchetti never has to deal with this. Right. Cosmo is going to play his little guessing game with you. We know that every week Cosmo jets off on far-flung missions around the solar system, but this week, he stayed a little bit closer to home. In fact, here's your clue. He stayed right here on planet Earth. So I want you to guess where you think he's been. Now I'm going to read out 3 clues. Sometimes I hold up the wrong amount of fingers. I'm going to read out 3 clues, and when I finish reading them all out, then answer in the comments, please. Don't answer if you think you know where it is straight away, because it's to test people's brains and to give people's brains a little bit of a workout. And the first one to pop up on my screen gets a little cuddly kiss from Cosmo. What more could you want at the tail end of lockdown after a year isolated from everybody? A kiss from a sloth. Such a wonderful thing. Yeah, he smells. Okay, so where has Cosmo been on Earth? Cosmo has been hanging out with the world's oldest pot plant. It's housed at this place, and it is a huge Jurassic Cyad bought there in 1775. Plant hunter Francis Masson collected the specimen during one of Captain Cook's voyages from the Eastern Cape of South Africa. So it houses the world's oldest pot plant. I can't keep a pot plant longer than maybe a couple of days. Somebody gave me a spider plant last week and it's already gone white like a skeleton. I don't know what I did to it. It's also home, this place is, to the smallest royal palace in the country. After a decade-long restoration project, the Grade 1 listed palace was reopened in 2006. It is the smallest of British royal residences and a popular getaway of George III. It is the same size as a small manor house. The palace was gifted to the people by Queen Victoria in 1837. So the two clues so far: where Cosmo's been hanging out, the world's oldest pot plant, home to the smallest royal palace, and it has its own police force. For over 150 years, this place has had its own police force responsible for on-site security. Now, there is a reason why Cosmo is telling you this information. It does tie into what we're about to talk about. So where do you think Cosmo has been? Answers now. Kent Royal Botanic Garden. Oh, Paul Sutherland. Unfortunately, this competition is not open to Pop Astro employees or their family members, so I'm afraid you're disqualified. Wendy Taylor, Gary saying Kew Gardens. What do you reckon, Cosmo? He's saying yes. Correct. Amazing. I've never been there. Have you? It sounds cool. Gary, pucker up, buttercup. Here is a kiss from Cosmo. Mwah. The reason why I'm telling you about Kew Gardens and its amazing facts is big thank you to Martin Willock, who has already been helping us to look for the moon trees. He has sent an email to Kew Gardens. Hello, Martin. Thanks for your email. In fact, that's all I'm going to read out so far. We're going to find out whether the moon trees have been found at Kew Gardens. But first of all, we need to learn more about the moon trees. So we're going to go over to our first guest in just one moment, when I've wondered why my mouse is freezing on my laptop. Wendy, don't get jealous of Gary and Cosmo. All right, just don't. He's not worth it. I promise you. Cosmo ain't worth it. Right, we're going to go over to Alexandra now. In 3, 2, 1. Hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you really well. Would you like a little kiss from Cosmo?
Please. One doesn't get many kisses from strangers at the moment.
Yeah, but aren't kisses from like attractive strangers quite nice sometimes?
Quite, yes. And it hasn't been possible for a long time. So, this is nice.
To go out and snog someone whose name you don't know. Lovely. So whereabouts in the country are you at the moment, Alexandra?
I'm in Lewes, East Sussex. I'm about 4 miles from the sea and very close to Brighton, where I work in another royal palace, or ex-royal palace. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Do you go swimming in the sea? I've been in the sea this afternoon.
I do. Yes, I do regularly.
Do you go in the winter? Do you go? Oh no.
No, I'm a worse. I can't stand the cold. But in the summer, I'm in there, almost every other day. Yeah.
Wow. Well done. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do and why you're on the show tonight.
Well, I'm here because I co-wrote a book about the moon with Robert Massey, who's going to turn up in a minute. I reckon this is it. It's called Moon, Art, Science and Culture. And I'm an art historian who became a curator. So I look after works of art and work at at the Royal Pavilion in Brighton. And the reason why I was so interested in the moon is because the building where I work is a great example of romantic architecture, and in the romantic period there are moons everywhere, in literature, in poetry, in painting, of course, and I often wondered why there so many moons in the late 18th and early 19th century. And the reason is, although it's the great age of sort of painting landscapes that convey a mood and create moods, it is also it comes at the tail end of the age of the Enlightenment. So that great thirst for knowledge that humans had in the 18th century, and they wanted to understand and explore everything. They wanted to put a structure to everything. A great age of exploration, and it's also the first time we sort of left the Earth, not quite in spaceships yet, but in the 1780s. Humans went up in hot air balloons and saw the Earth from a little bit of a distance, not quite as the Apollo missions. And we were beginning to understand more and more about the world and how everything sort of links up. And I think because of that, humans also had the urge to place themselves into that bigger, much bigger picture, into the cosmos. So you get a lot of paintings where you see small human figures against a vast landscape, the horizon, the night skies, sunsets, sunrises, moonrises, and so on. And the moon is particularly potent. And I think it's a response to this sort of great age of discovery and science. And what I find particularly interesting is that you may think, oh, those romantics, they were just thinking and painting and writing about feelings and mood, but actually quite a lot of them had a great interest in science and were careful observers. So people like Constable or Turner, they might give you a big romantic landscape, but they were also very keen, not so much astronomers, although there were some astronomers among them, but they observed carefully and they drew and sketched carefully and made lots of notes about atmospheric conditions and the cosmos in general. And I like that connection, and that's why I asked Robert to co-write the book with me, because I wanted to bring the sciences and the arts together and explain how they sort of work together.
Oh, that is so nice. So how did you get interested in the moon then?
Well, I have to say, because I was born in 1969, the moon has always been there in my life. And I measured a lot of things that were happening around me and to me against that huge, event in human history, that huge human achievement of the moon landing. So so the moon's always been there. And then I ended up working a lot on that romantic period where you have so many moons, where poets and thinkers and painters walk in moonlight and put themselves in relation to the cosmos. Where are we? We're beginning to understand the universe. We're even leaving our own planet, and so we have to put ourselves back into this. So how do we fit in? So I find that fascinating.
So one of the things that we mentioned, and I thought this was so lovely, is the very famous painting by a certain Mr. Vincent van Gogh, a starry star. Is it Starry Night? It's called Starry Night, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, it's
not Starry Night.
That's the song.
I was going to say Starry Night is the song. Slightly
That's
different.
The song Vincent by Don McLean. Yes, not to be just beautiful song. Beautiful song. No, Van Gogh painted lots of starry skies, but that particular one, Starry Night, which has a waning moon in the top right corner, and then you see lots of stars and all sources of light, and you think, well, we know so much about Van Gogh and his troubles, his mental health issues, and he painted this while he was in an asylum. And at that point in art, you get all the expressive colors, and it's no longer naturalistic. It's sort of all about emotion and using unrealistic colors, and it's full of complementaries. And you think, well, that's just about what he wanted to express and how he felt. But actually, if you sort of look closer at it, and if you know where he was, and you look at what he painted, as expressive as it is, he did actually observe the sky carefully, and you can pretty much exactly date that painting, when and where he painted it. And that's not the only example. There are many examples throughout art history where you can date and place the painting. And you can do similar things with poetry as well. Not always, but quite often you realize, that painter had an interest in observing nature carefully.
I was just actually going to have a go at showing our SPA mug that we've got here. It's probably not often you've had a talk interrupted by merchandise sales, but I think you might be able to see. It's Starry Night mug. Actually, it's lovely, isn't it? There you go, in
Yeah.
all of its glory.
It's great. That's because clearly the way Vincent van Gogh sort of saw things or perceived things, this has to do with vision, of course, and he famously sort of painted sort of swirly patterns. So that was clearly how he saw or interpreted the optical sort of appearance of objects in the sky.
So the combination of science and art, my limited experience of it is when I go away on astronomy residentials, I'm one of the only people who gets the crayons out and starts to draw the nebula and the craters. And I often invite my fellow astronomers, come and have a go at drawing the Orion Nebula. It's really teaching me how the structure of it works, the colours used in it. And they all just go, no. And there seems just to be this kind of gulf between them and creativity. And what are your thoughts on how you've combined science and art then?
Well, I wish the sciences and the arts came closer together again, because until fairly recently there were sort of overlapping greatly, partly because photography hadn't been invented yet, and if you wanted to illustrate whatever you were writing about or teaching about accurately, you also had to be a good draftsman, a good artist. So think about those early images of the moon as seen through telescopes, just after telescopes had been invented, and Robert and I talk a lot about that in our talks, and we wrote about it in our books, that you had to be a reasonably good artist to pull that off. And despite all the digital technology we have, and the photography, of course, having developed rapidly, it is interesting that in archaeology and other areas, drawing is still an important part. I've just been, as probably many of you, been watching The Terror, which is all about the Franklin expedition. And they found the wrecks of those two ships of the Franklin expedition, and they're now so gradually bringing up objects from those ships, and they are still drawing them. They're still despite all this of chemical analysis and the cleaning and the conservation, they are still also producing hand-drawn images of each object that they pull out. So it's an important part of science, the technical ability to draw things. And I like that in artists as well. If they do that, if an artist wants to produce a beautiful sort of lunar landscape, moonlit landscape, I've spoken to quite a few. They still look through their telescope or binoculars, and they make those sketches before they go on to the more creative leg of it.
So I've got a challenge for you, Popular Astronomers. Our lovely magazine, I don't have the up-to-date one. It's in the post. We'll be chatting about it later. But at the back of our magazine, we have got an observing section where you can submit your lovely pictures, but also we publish your drawings as well. So I challenge you, Popular Astronomers, even if you don't think art is for you, it is. Now, I remember Kath Adams, who's on the SPA board here. She'd never drawn anything and said that she was hopeless at art at school. And a couple of weeks ago, she produced photorealistic craters after Mary McIntyre tutorial, just using pencil and paper. So your challenge, Popular Astronomers, if you've never tried drawing an object before, I can't tell you how much it enhances your understanding of how something works, and send it to our magazine and you might get your name up in paper. Look at that lovely delicate drawing of Mars there. That is courtesy of Robert Steele, Mars at 2020 opposition made using a 90mm refractor. That is just a fantastic.
Beautiful.
I'm sure your book's got some wonderful illustrations in it. You can show us a little bit of what's inside your book. And we could.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It was always going to be a popular book. So we Rob and I both like, popular literature, because we think it brings sort of complex things and sometimes difficult to understand things, so it makes them more accessible. So we always wanted this to be a sort of beautiful book and a heavily illustrated book. So we have this is an example of sort of Soviet space race propaganda. And then quite often we try to sort of juxtapose something that is scientific and then something that is more on the arty side. So, for example, here we have contemporary artists who I like very much. This is Leonie Tishkov, who walks around with the moon, who goes on journeys with the moon. He travels with his love, the moon, and he takes these beautiful atmospheric photographs, and he's still doing it beautifully. And this is called, the sort of idea of the moon as a symbol of love and of trysts and whatever. So we have him with this huge model of the moon, which he lent to Greenwich, to the National Maritime Museum recently. And then here we have a photograph from the 19th century, and this is a museum attendant carefully looking after a huge scientific model of the moon that was produced in the 19th century. So two models of the moon in sort of different contexts. One is a science museum, and the other one is sort of creating or going on a journey with the moon. So this is how the book works. We try and sort of bring these elements together. So here, another beautiful example, this fantastic globe by John Russell. This is a very late 18th century, and you can see, of course, one half of the moon is absolutely blank because nobody had seen the other side of the moon yet. So only the side visible to us is shown here. To me, a beautiful work of art as well as a scientific sort of instrument and model. And on the other hand, on the other page here, we have a sort of calendar sheet from this Art Nouveau period, where the moon is like a human face. Again, that sort of taps into other notions about the moon, that we always want to see ourselves in it somehow. We want to see human features in it. And that's probably because it is so tantalizingly close to us. So we're going into sort of psychology and what we want, how we want to connect with the moon, and how we have always connected with the moon. And I think there are sort of visual similarities, So some of these early moon globes remind me of human skulls, for example. So there is always that human element.
Oh my gosh. Right. So tell us the name of the book. Hold it up one last time.
So this is called Moon, Art, Science, Culture. Sounds heavy, but beautiful. It's really, really accessible, and it's sort of, and you can sort of dip in and out of it. There's sort of essays by Robert and me on, obviously Robert covering mostly the scientific sides, and I'm sort of talking mostly about art, but there are also areas where we clearly overlap, and we've had to fight over various sort of subjects and topics.
Oh, wow. Okay, now speaking of Mr. Massey, we're going to bring him on in a sec. Let's just have a look. We've got a couple of comments here. Oh, people are just saying, fascinating. The book looks amazing. Have bought a copy. There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's also available in Spanish, and it's coming out now in Mandarin. So
wow.
Available in China very soon. We haven't seen that copy yet, but it's coming.
That is lovely news. Okay, Paul Abel sketches from the telescope. That is a great skill to get your head around, and it's really fun. So try that. There's the art challenge, Popular Astronomers. So yeah, we want your submissions. Right. Okay, we're going to bring Robert on in a moment. I love your book. There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, here you go. Thank you. Brendan says the book looks beautiful. Great reviews online. That's good. So, has it got some decent Amazon reviews then?
I don't know. I don't look at them because they can be so. I mean, the first time I ever published anything, it was something on color. That's sort of my main thing. And the first review said the Kindle version doesn't work. 1 star. I thought, well, that's not me. No. So I don't look at reviews, but we have.
They say Robert don't to look at them.
No, but Robert and I have had so many wonderful experiences with this book because we've been on this sort of moon tour, obviously in 2019, year of the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. We went here, there, and everywhere, and then COVID hit, of course. And I have to say, because we sometimes went to sort of arty events and quite often to science groups and events, and it's been such a great experience sort of giving talks to scientists or amateur scientists, and it's so much more relaxed, I have to say. We've had great response to the book, and we've greatly enjoyed sort of going on tour with it, and we've been to some great places with it.
Oh, thank you, Robert. I popped you on then without giving you the countdown. That was really rude of me, actually.
I was looking at my phone, as everybody does.
Yeah.
What can I say?
I've got to say thank you to Paul Sutherland for suggesting Alexandra. He suggested you, and thank you, Robert, for coming on. So, when was the last time you two saw each other in real life, IRL?
Last autumn, wasn't it? I think
we had in between. Yes, the last time I ever got on I got on a train. I went to Bristol, and because Robert's wife, like me, is German, and we had this terribly German outing. We ate schnitzel in Bristol.
Restaurant. That was when it was briefly open. Yeah,
when you were briefly able to travel, and so that was September.
Plug that restaurant. I don't think we should really, but yeah, Gloucester House. There you go.
Gloucester House. Yes, so that was September. But I'm planning to go back to Bristol, and I'm hoping that Jenny and Robert can come here as well.
Yeah, we really want to get out of the general locality soon. Yeah. I think not as far as the moon, but at least just.
I'd like to go to the moon right now.
Or even Bristol would do.
Robert, I've just realised I peaked too soon with you. I've got a couple more minutes to pester Alexandra with our game, Crate or Potato. I got too excited. I'm going to just put you back into the green room and play Crate or Potato. Okay, here we go. Alexandra, we play a game whenever the moon is mentioned called Crater or Potato, and you've got to guess whether it's one of the 500 million craters or one of 4,000 potato varieties.
That's fascinating, because someone, actually the artist who painted this, lovely contemporary artist, I'm back to front, Fergus Hare, very serious artist, beautiful art, and he once gave me a book, and it looked incredibly stylish, a book about the moon, and I looked at it and I said, oh, this is very beautiful, very arty, so, and he said, you know what, those are all pancakes, so they're all photographs of pancakes. So I'll happily take on your potatoes. Bring them on.
Okay, you're going to get 3. So, Abbott. Is Abbott a crater or a potato?
Oh, God, it's names. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's names, not pictures. Oh, yeah, it's not pictures.
Oh, dear. Abbott. I would say potato.
It was named after Charles Greeley Abbott, who lived until 1872 to 1973. It's a crater.
Damn.
So you got 0 for that. Okay, Victoria.
Well, I think that must be a potato, because I have looked into craters named after women. I cannot remember Victoria crater.
Oh, very good. Victoria, I was actually named after the potato. It's a strong growing early main crop variety. It's proved ideal for fish fryers and is widely recommended as a preferred variety by the industry.
Great.
So there you go. Good work. You can have double points for that one, because you have done your research on that one. So well done.
Thank you.
Well done. And finally, Julius Caesar, crater or potato?
Potato. No,
it's
crater.
Oh, yeah, you got that right. You got 3 out of. You managed to get 4 out of 3. No, you got 3 out of 3. So well done. Robert has got a hefty number to beat there, but you did get the bonus point. So well done. Let's get Robert back on. He's not looking at his phone now. Here he comes.
Will I stay on, or will you kick me out?
I must admit, I will do badly on this quiz, I suspect.
Oh, thank you. Robert, well, do you two just chat amongst yourselves? Because when was the last time you even spoke?
We could do that. Like I mean, I don't want to put you out. We'll just chat,
We'll just it is. I have to say, we launched the book, so to speak, late in 2018, and we first tried this sort of approach of a talk, with 2 speakers, and I have to say, we've perfected it. It works so well, and we've done it in all sorts of places, and slightly different formats, and it was just beautiful. And then COVID hit, and we couldn't do that anymore. And but we have even done it online. We have sort of branched out a bit and sort of developed them a bit further. So, but I can't wait to get back on the road. Although I think our spouse has got a bit sort of impatient with us in 2019 because we're always away.
So how did you meet?
Originally,
well, Robert,
Robert,
that's your story, because that's
it is. Yeah, no, because my wife lived in Berlin. Jenny lived in Berlin for a long time, which is where she met Alexandra when they were both living in. So you weren't living in squats where you just sort of vaguely illegal.
Oh, Jenny lived in. We both lived in pretty
basic. I've done it too.
Pretty strange
much
places.
less glamorous in South Manchester than Berlin, I could tell you.
But Jenny always threw the best parties. They were great. But anyway, so I moved to England, and Jenny moved to England a couple of years later and started a wonderful job as curator at Greenwich, at Queen's House. And it sounds very romantic to me, and I bet it was Robert, that she fell in with the man who worked at the Royal Observatory, which is of course Robert.
Yes, I did that. Absolutely. Yeah, till 2006 actually, before I went to the RAS. So I was there for a good 8 years, and it is a very special place actually. It's yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people watching have been there, but it's one of the top astronomical sites in the UK in terms of places to visit and see, and given how evocative it is. And needless to say, the theme of this program, I absolutely looked to the moon from that site with the giant refractor, and that's quite an experience, if only because you get such a stonking amount of light in your eyes. It's crazy. So, but all of that makes for a great place, and yeah, it was a delight to meet her there, and a good thing to do. I mean, yeah, I think Alexandra's right. It's a very romantic setting as well, Greenwich Park and all those beautiful buildings.
Oh, well, that's so lovely. Well, I hope it was nice for you to see each other, and you can both split that extra book sale that you got tonight.
Yeah, exactly. No, thank you to those viewers. Really,
thank you.
It's nice. It's nice. Thank you so much, Alexandra. Good luck with everything, and hopefully you can meet again soon. And do you have any plans for any more books together?
We keep talking about it, don't we? We should really get our heads together and work on something. Yeah,
we should.
The Apollo anniversary was a thing because it made it so appropriate.
Yeah, but there is scope. It's just publishers have been very, very cautious during COVID. So I've been negotiating various books, and nothing has happened because of COVID. But maybe maybe we'll do something. I have ideas.
It'd be quite nice to go and visit publishers' houses again, wouldn't it? Really, and go to that nice rooftop terrace. All these things we used to do.
Yeah.
We
went to Stonehenge to give a talk about the moon, which was just amazing. It was just great. And Jodrell Bank was fantastic. So Blue Dot, when we were the smallest names on the program, but hey.
We had hanging up and standing in the mud, looking up
in the mud. But we had the same VIP access. It was amazing. It was really good.
Oh, I was there that year. I didn't know I was going, and I accidentally got a free ticket and didn't have anything other than sandals. So I spent 3 days in the mud in sandals. That was nice.
That's it. But you'll reach that festival experience. You've got to wander around in mud.
Oh, excellent. Okay, Alexandra, thank you so much.
Bye-bye. I'll stay on for the rest, but really nice to do this. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Bye. Bye. Oh, okay, Robert, we've teased them now because we haven't really gone into too much detail about what the moon trees are. And I do believe that's how you build viewing figures, is to keep people hooked. So thank you if you're still bearing with us. Go into the detail of what the moon trees are, please, Robert.
Okay, well, the moon trees, right. Firstly, the moon trees are obviously not trees growing on the moon. Okay, although that would be amazing and extraordinary. No, we haven't discovered trees on the moon. But what it stems from is that the Apollo 14 mission that went to the moon in 1971, one of the astronauts, Stuart Rooser, he stayed in orbit around the moon. He didn't walk on the moon, but he was in the command module. One of the things he did was to carry 500 seeds with him. And they were things like the sycamore, as it's called in the US, I think sycamore, maple, redwood, and pine seeds, and so on. And anyway, so These were then returned to Earth, and over a period of a few years after that, they were then planted mostly in the US, and there are about 500 seeds in total. And there are quite a lot of existing moon trees in the US. But we are told on good authority, no less than a presenter on Gardener's Question Time, that 15 of these seeds ended up in the UK, and that the presenter, Christine Walkden, she thinks there are trees here. And we have no idea where they are. We really don't know. Steve Miller, who's our vice president, has looked into it. He's asked around, and he can't find them. So far, we've turned up. He's been to Arboretums and Kew and all these other places, and no one seems to know. Now, I think if these seeds came to the UK in the early 70s, there absolutely must still be people around who know where they were, who remember them coming in, and we would really love to find out. The other thing we thought we might do is, perhaps take a cutting from one or a seed from to make a second generation tree and plant it somewhere near the RAS as a delayed way of celebrating our bicentenary, because we had our 200th anniversary last year. And after March, obviously everything was online. That was great. But we would really like to perhaps, cap it off. The 50 years since the Apollo 14 mission actually went to the moon. Wouldn't it be great to get one of those seeds and plant a tree from it? Or even if it's not one of the 15 seeds, the second generation one. And either way, we would love to know where the trees are. There must be somewhere. Somebody must know what happened to these seeds.
Oh my God, what an amazing mystery that is.
Well, it is, and I think it all stems from the fact. So our vice president asked a question on Gardener's Question Time about ways in which we could celebrate astronomy. So people came up with plants with the name Jupiter and Mars and all the rest of it. But this was a real curveball for us. Christine Walkden had this, clearly knew a lot about it. Said, well, what about these moon trees? Wouldn't that be a fantastic way of celebrating it? And I absolutely agree. It's not it was done, I guess, partly as these experiments have been, because they took seeds to the moon. They wanted to see how plants that were grown from seeds that had been to space would differ from those on Earth. And in this particular case, because they weren't up there that long, they're only up there for 7 to 10 days, something like that, and for that kind of moon mission, they came back to Earth, and there wasn't really any great difference. So the trees planted in the US, there's no obvious difference between the ones that grew from moon seeds and their counterparts on Earth. And there was a more recent experiment where Tim Peake took 2 kilos of seeds with him, including rocket seeds, which is a brilliant idea, and they grew them on the Earth, and they were up there long enough that there was a difference, that the plants grown from the seeds that had been in Earth orbit even for a long time with a bit more radiation. Well, I say a bit more, it's about 100 times as much as on Earth, so not great, but still not enough to do you harm in the short term, but it did affect the growth of the plants on Earth. So, so it is a legitimate thing to do. But, we think this is just fun. Wouldn't it be fantastic? The problem with trees is you plant them. Unless you put a plaque on it when it gets bigger, you probably forget where it is. So what we really hope is that someone remembers this, that someone remembers either planting them or receiving the seeds and knows where they are.
And what's that? The RAS are offering a £300,000 reward for every moon tree. This is great news.
Well, you're very welcome to look at our accounts and see how that. We would dearly love to do that, but I suspect not possible. On the other hand, we are in partnership with the UK Space Agency, so as they're not on this program, I'm happy to indeed suggest that they might offer a reward at that level, but But don't quote me on that. And I suspect it may not be true. No, it's
so what,
we are looking at the space agency too, I should say.
So what varieties of tree are we sleuthing for?
We think they're sycamore. So the kind, it really should grow easily, right? It's they should be easy to find. If they were planted and they're nice mature trees now, 50 years on, or even if they were planted 5 years after the landing, they're 45 years old. There should be substantial things. And there is a second generation one in the village of Flamstead in Hertfordshire, north of London. And apparently 3 Counties Radio went there when they heard about this and did the interview with Steve Miller on the phone, standing in the guy's garden next to the second generation moon tree. So there are second generation ones, but no first generation ones that we can find.
Oh my word. So taking living plants and things into space is quite common, yeah?
It's been done a lot, that's right. And it's quite a standard experiment to do, so particularly taking them up to the space station more recently. But no, there have been things like tortoises going around the moon. In fact, the first living creatures to go around the moon before the Apollo 8 mission, where they did that wonderful Christmas broadcast and reading the Book of Genesis and all the rest of it, was a Russian mission, a Zond mission, which included, I think it was including wine flies and tortoises. And they were fine. They came back and they were okay. So they beat the Americans to the moon just by sending tortoises around. But of course, understandably, we don't quite remember the flight of the tortoises. And and more recently, there were nematode worms taken, and in 2016, the Israeli Bereshit spacecraft, or was it a couple of years later, it was a private space mission. It crashed on the moon, and it went wrong, obviously, and it had tardigrades, which, if you remember, these amazingly hardy water bears, they crashed into the lunar surface, and the theory was they might actually survive because these things have been put into space and survived. So, but obviously, what happens is when they get to an environment like that, they desiccate, they dry up. They would only reproduce, I think, if you put them in water again or you warm them up. There's no serious danger that they're going to take over the moon or anything like that. So, yeah, there is a happy history of doing this, and the Chinese rover more recently as well, Chang'e 4, it germinated seeds on the moon, and they died in the lunar night. It gets too cold and so on, but it did show that it was possible. So yeah, there is a really good reason for doing this, as well as being fun. It's actually it's good science. I mean, if you ever want to populate the moon, and not in a big way, but if you ever want to build a scientific base there, say, it would be really good to know if you could grow food there. So that's part of the idea of this.
Wow, Robert. So during the show, I have sometimes about 300 comments come up, and I swear to God, Alexandra in the green room, don't peep because you might be able to see it in the private chat. Can you see inside the private chat? Because I'm going to test your knowledge of Alexandra now.
I can, I'm afraid, because I do know those. Yeah. Sorry, I was at the corner of my eye. It was popping up. So
Alexandra has made a comment which just made me step back slightly. She's got 2 tortoises because of the fact that tortoises went into space. That's geeky.
They are very nice tortoises as well, actually. Yeah, and they actually was telling me they didn't hibernate properly this year. They were because it was just too warm. So they sort of, you have to encourage them to hibernate, I believe, to make sure the temperature is low enough. But they are nice tortoises. And
it was always a highlight of Blue Peter with the tortoise waking up and going back to sleep again.
That's very true. I do remember that.
They founded a whole kids' TV program on that.
Yeah, when we didn't all have central heating in the 70s, and it was cold. Yeah. It really was cold in your house, wasn't it? Ice on the windows. Then the tortoises definitely hibernated.
Oh yeah. It turns out that hibernating hamsters are quite a lot like they've died. Turns out. Yeah, I'll say no more about that story, but yeah, trauma as a childhood, trauma in the childhood times. Robert, so the moon is beautiful. It's kind of nearly about half full now, isn't it?
It's fantastic. I thought this was so appropriate because the last few nights here, I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's been so clear, and almost every night. I can't go out for hours every night. I've still got a day job to do, but you go out and you think, wow, the moon's in the sky. Okay, I am going to get the telescope. I am going to go and look at this, because as it goes through from a crescent to beyond first quarter, as it is now, to waxing gibbous moon, you just see these features being revealed. Because one of the things the early telescopic observers would have told you, and it's just as true today, is that the best time to look at the moon, if you want to see detail, is not when it's full. When it's full, it's really bleached out, and all the structure and so on is much less obvious. But when there are deep, strong shadows like there are now, if you look along the night and day line, then you see all the craters and mountains pop out. So it's just beyond, it's just what we call the gibbous phase. As it happens, I was checking earlier, and this is pretty much exactly the perfect time to see the Apollo 14 landing site as well in Framaro by some bizarre coincidence. So if you look up a map on the web and you have a small telescope, you can see where not Stuart Rooser, but the 2 other astronauts walked on the moon. And there you are. There's some moon maps there. But it's also the spring is a particularly good time to look at it as well, because the angle of the ecliptic and the zodiac, the regions of the sky where you find the moon and the sun and the planets, is at a steep angle at sunset. So what that means is that the sun goes down, the moon is still quite high. So right now we've got a really high set of moons going through from crescent to what it is right now on gibbous moon, and next month May will be the same. It's a perfect time, and in this weather, I don't want to encourage people to go away from this broadcast, but after it finishes, do go out and take a look, because it's a perfect time.
Robert, I was trying to show there a feature of my screen share. The bane of my life wasn't working then. Have you ever seen the Lunar X?
I have, and
it's really good, isn't it? It's very good to see.
There are some horrible things on Twitter, but that was a tweet. Colin Stewart, who used to work at the observatory in Greenwich as well, actually quite a long time after me, he tweeted saying, "Oh, isn't it wonderful astronomers flag up these things? There's this X." I thought, I hadn't heard of this. Anyway, I went out and I looked and I thought, wow, there's an X on the moon. And it's actually one of the images in our book because a friend of mine, Sal Russell, who's an artist, she does actually paint sights in the sky. So you should definitely talk to her sometime. But she gave us a sketch to include in the book. So I do like it. It's a wonderful transient feature, only visible for a very short time, and you have to look up when it's going to be visible. There's a Y as well, isn't there? Which I don't think I have seen, which is in the same region as well.
Yeah, so the lunar X is a convergence of a couple of craters that catch the light, and they create almost like an algebraic X shape. And we saw it with Astro on our field trip to Anglesey. It was why the field trip had been planned to at this particular time. And at first, I thought, oh, it's quite interesting. And then as the day, because it was visible during the day, it was like seeing an eclipse. The astronomers were going crazy for it, running around screaming with their hands in their air and clapping each other on the back. It was really exciting. We're
easily pleased, aren't we? We must be crazy. Who would think that just this feature? Yeah, but you're absolutely right. It was. I even excited a lunar scientist, and I wrote about it. The passage in that book with Alexandra. This lunar scientist, Katie Joy, Manchester. She wrote. She said, "I never heard of this. I need to go and see this now." Yes, I thought, brilliant, job done. If I've excited someone whose job is to research the moon, then we've done a good thing.
So yeah, Google the lunar X. My screen share wasn't working. Try to spot it. It might be visible. It's kind of around about this time every couple of months. So Robert, I've just realized that we didn't get you to introduce who you are. So tell us about who you are and why we should all bow down.
Well, I'm Robert Massey, and I'm Deputy Executive Director. Sorry, it's got a long title, of the Royal Astronomical Society. So, and in normal times, we spend a lot of our time in Burlington House in central London, but right now we're pretty much all working at home to a lesser or greater extent. But we do hope that our building opens up again soon. At the very least by the autumn. I think we might have a library open earlier than that as well. You've been to our place, haven't you, Vicky? I think.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. The nicest thing about it, I think, I mean, there is a lecture theatre, and there are quite nice offices, which are, so what in a sense. But the library is phenomenal. So my colleague Sean Prosser, we have a collection of more modern books, but we also have some real gems. I mean, things like first edition Copernicus and all these kind of things, really wonderful treasures. And
wow, I didn't see them.
A lot of them get lent out to museums, as you can imagine, and so on, whenever there's exhibitions and that sort of thing. So they are fabulous. But it's there for researchers. So if people want to come in and study things, then we help them with that, because sometimes we'll have people say, sometimes historians will want, obviously, to look at, say, what Copernicus was doing, or some of the stuff we include in the book, the writings of William Herschel about the moon, his observer's notes. But also, we've had quirky things like people studying sunspots, and we have some of the sunspot drawings by Heinrich Schraber, and this researcher from Germany was able to fill in a 400-year sunspot record by using these drawings from the 19th century and scanning them. So we do still make a contribution with this historic library to modern science as well. And I think it's absolutely the best thing about the building, that is the collection there.
Oh, I'm honoured to have gone there. Thank you, Paul Sutherland, for taking me there as your +1 for the RAS Christmas dinner. We were like at the leftovers Christmas dinner. The riff-raff one.
You have to come again, Vicky. You'd be very welcome to come again.
Right, that's it. See you there.
If I invite you don't need Paul to invite you. No, Paul's welcome too, honestly. I've known Paul a long time.
Okay, Robert, thank you so much. I'm going to put that in my calendar. You will be sorry that you will be sorry that you invited me in Cosmo. You do know that I call myself Astronomer Botherer Royal, don't you?
Yeah, that's not a problem. We have people who bother us a lot less nicely. So,
right.
You'll definitely be on the nicer list.
Thank you very much. On the nice, not the naughty list. Robert, I'm going to bother the hell out of you now with crater or potato. Are you ready?
That's a bit embarrassing. Go on then.
But because you are a true astronomer, you've got to give me the precise latitude and longitude of the craters to win points.
It's absolutely not going to happen.
Okay, you're going to get 3 craters or potatoes. So the first one is Haskin.
Could be a crater. Sounds familiar.
Well done. Yes, it's 81.51 degrees north and named after Larry Haskin, whoever he was.
was going to say, it doesn't trip off the tongue, but it's something in my memory. Excellent. Go on then.
Okay.
Out of the 500 million.
So, is it a Kartoffel or is it a crater? It's a Kopf. Kopf.
Head, yeah, that's sound. I'm going with potato, I think. Could be wrong though. Kopf is too short a name, surely. Yeah.
It's a crater.
Oh.
So you've got 1 out of 3, that's right. And the final one, brr, it's cold in this place. It's Antarctica. Is it a crater or is it a potato?
Antarctica, is it? That's surely a potato.
It is correct. So well done. You've got 2
Excellent.
out of
Yeah,
23. Alexandra beat you. Antarctica is a main crop variety. Testing was conducted in 1 year only for common scab and mop top.
It's quite useful. If I buy some, I will, I do feel much better informed about potatoes.
Excellent, Robert. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you on, and I'll see you at Christmas for the party.
You will be very welcome. Definitely drinks in the RAS. Look, it's so much looking forward to.
My first Christmas party lined up. I will be there. Don't forget to put me on the guest list, Robert. Don't want me waiting outside in the cold.
I won't. No, I won't. I mean, I have to say for anybody watching, our Christmas parties are, it's wine. They're okay, right? It's a nice place, but yeah, we're not a high-end London club, not yet.
Oh, thank you. I'll bring a touch of glamour. Don't you worry.
That's what we need.
Hang on a minute. Someone's doing some admin here. James Little is asking, have you had the magazine yet?
I didn't expect this. Actually, James, I have. So if you haven't had it, you are welcome to email our office to check on your edition. Yeah, you haven't had it. We'll get that to you.
Great. Okay. And everybody's saying thank you.
Very welcome. It's a lot of fun being on here. So a nice
thank you.
Virtually, Viggy. So.
Okay. Catch you later. Bye. Bye. Great. Do you know where the moon trees are? £300,000 reward if you know. That's a joke. Obviously, that is a joke. I was told right at the start of the show, don't say jokes because they get taken seriously. So there's no £300,000 reward. It's actually $500,000 if you know where the moon trees are. So thank you very much there to Robert and Alexandra, and purchase their lovely book if you fancy it. Right. Okay. So let's have a twiddle of me banners. What can I say? Let's have something running across the bottom one. There we go. Let's have that on. Okay. And we have very big news for our resident telescope sloth, Cosmo. If you've not met Cosmo before, he got abandoned here and we've adopted him as our own. Can you see those little woolly legs dangling down? That is Gemini Jones, aka Buzz Waldrin. I wanted to know whether you'd rather keep Buzz or Cosmo on the show, and you voted unanimously for Cosmo, so we're stuck with him now. So Cosmo is going to be, no, he's already a dad. He's been really naughty, actually, because it was in the BBC News today. A baby sloth has been born at Bristol Zoo Gardens, the first in nearly a decade. Isn't that so cute? The tiny Linna's two-toed sloth. I've never counted your toes, Cosmo. There's 3 there, isn't there? Oh, it's 3-toed sloth. Did you know that? 1, 2, 3. In fact, yeah, that is a 3-toed sloth. Two-toed sloth came into the world upside down just over 2 weeks ago on March 29th. The mother, 8-year-old Trixie, gave birth to the infant in an enclosure she shares with her father, 19-year-old Rio. So it wasn't Cosmo. Thank God it wasn't you, Cosmo. We can't have you paying child support. We can't afford it. Not on the SPA's tab anyway. Yeah, it's almost 10 years since a sloth has been born at Bristol Zoo. Isn't that lovely news? Any baby animals are good news. Great. Okay, we're going over to Eleni now, who's waiting really patiently in the green room. 3, 2, 1, Eleni. Hi, Eleni.
Everyone. How are you?
Guess what happened last week while you weren't here, Eleni?
What happened? You had a really bad show because I wasn't there.
Well, yeah, other than rubbish internet.
I'm joking.
There were Aurora on Friday night, and everybody missed it.
No, I should have sent a memo. I'm really sorry about that, but that assignment I had to do was it drained me. Like, it required all of my attention and all of my brain power. So, but I'm back now.
Did you get it? You get your assignment in on time?
Yeah, I did. I submitted it on Tuesday morning, so now I'm waiting to see what I did.
So thanks so much. Yes. So what a great show it's been tonight, and I'll let you crack on with your presentation.
Lovely. Let's see. I'll make it nice and big for everyone to see. I never remember. Like, there we go. Every time I have to like double think before I remember where to go for the slideshow. Right. Okay. So I've got a couple of interesting things lined up for you tonight. The first one is about a star flare from another star, which has actually been observed. And we're usually used to the sun's flares. But this time, we actually saw Proxima Centauri flaring up. And I think that's actually pretty cool to actually look at data and see how would you call that? A centaural flare? Any suggestions are welcome. I know star flare is probably the accurate one, but I'm thinking something, you know, related to the name of the star. That would be pretty interesting to see. Proximal flare? No. Anyway, so why that's interesting, you may ask. So Proxima Centauri is quite a small star, so it's a red dwarf. And they are small, but they're powerhouses. They're very powerful stars. And of course, we all know it's the closest star to our sun. And it's actually known for a while that they're very active. And there was evidence in other data sets that there are flares happening in this type of stars. But that's actually the first time that data was combined, including data from ALMA and from the Hubble telescope, to actually see the flare. And that's quite important because we have one type of star, like our star, which is a particular type of yellow star, very common. And we know, well, we kind of know how flares happen in this kind of star. It's very interesting to be able to see or be able to understand in some way the underlying mechanisms of solar flares in a different type of star and what drives them, what makes them happen. And this is the first solid, like paving the way to understand how solar flares, or star flares, I should say, work in different types of stars. So that's my starry bit. Now we're going to move from stars to galaxies. So see, I keep you interested, and I always mix things up except for quasars because I like quasars. But there's no quasars today, so right. I'm not so sure why I must. There we go. There we go. Sorry, my laptop is a little bit slow tonight. So, okay. This one is about a baby galaxy. So when we say baby galaxy, we're talking about looking at something at the very early universe. So when galaxies first formed. So there have been some data sets, including infant galaxies, but this particular one, discovered by none other than ALMA again, is particularly important because it's actually a rotating baby galaxy. So what we're seeing in the picture is, can everybody see my cursor? I hope you can, guys. So we have the red parts of the image, which are actually the galaxy that's been lensed. And in front of it, we have the galaxy that's doing the lensing. And this is the name of the galaxy cluster that is doing the lensing. Sorry, it's not a galaxy, of course, it's a galaxy cluster. So it's got quite a mouthful for a name. Let's just try to say it once. RxCJ0600Z6. There we go. Worked as a lens and made the galaxy that was behind it be magnified enough for us to detect. Now, most early type galaxies are very hard or almost impossible to see because they are too dim for our instruments to pick up. And usually astronomers rely on lensing and lensing techniques to actually be able to see these very distant, very, very faint objects. Now, that particular galaxy is 12.9 billion light years away. So we are looking at it when the universe was a tiny fraction of its current age. So it's a very old object we're looking at. It's old now, but what we see, it's it when it was an infant. Now, why is that cool? Because it's also rotating, and that's contrary to current theories about early galaxy formation. It's traditionally thought that the gas in young galaxies is actually randomly moving in all directions. These observations actually show that the gas is actually following a particular pattern, that it's rotating, which means it's got an organized type of motion, which contradicts theory at this stage. So looking at objects like that, looking at very dim objects with the help of lensing will hopefully help us understand how early galaxies are actually formed, like give us a comprehensive view of what's happening, because clearly our understanding is flawed. So that's it for the galaxies bit. And now I've got a couple of nice things in my space news and weather part. So there may be an aurora. Okay, don't hold your breath. Maybe one, because today there was quite a big solar flare heading our way. And it actually caused a small shortwave radio blackout in Southeast Asia. So there's definitely a solar flare happening or happened today. So that means that there may be a coronal mass ejection heading our way, and where there is a coronal mass ejection, there is most likely an aurora. So people, if you're interested, keep an eye out over the weekend. We might be lucky. And that hopefully will make up for my not informing you last week about the aurora. And fingers crossed, right? And the other interesting thing is a Jovian moon eclipse. Ooh. And I thought I wanted to share that because it's so cool. So it was actually captured by an Australian astronomer. And what you see is, obviously this is Jupiter. And what you see is the shadow of Callisto, this little black dot, passing in front of Ganymede, which is, I think it's incredible. Like, and to see that from like an Earth-based telescope and, you know, get such a nice clear view, I thought it was worth mentioning tonight. And last but not least, well,
yay,
you know, right? Success for Ingenuity's first flight. This picture is incredible, right? I mean, we've reached the stage as a species that we can send something to another planet and actually have it take a picture of its shadow. Like, I don't know. I think it's a milestone. So it's a pretty cool thing. It's an important mission. And of course, its initial flight demo was autonomous. Because of the time delay, there is no way you can get Ingenuity to fly remotely using a joystick from JPL headquarters. So it was actually all coded and loaded into Ingenuity itself. And it was piloted by onboard guidance. So everything needed for it to be piloted was already on it. And that was, I think, pretty cool. And I'm really happy that it made it. So yes, I will leave you with this really happy thought. I think more great things are about to happen. And I just can't wait to basically be here and present them to you as they're happening. So let's see.
Oh, is that it or?
That's it.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. I'll unshare the stream. There we go. Remove. Thank you so much. And hopefully, well, we've just Robert said in the private chat, this is great, Eleni. I would love to see an aurora again. It's been 30 years.
Oh my goodness. So I really, really hope that it actually happens then. I've never seen one. I really want to see one. I've always been in the wrong country to be able to see one. Like I'm always like too close to the equator. Like in Greece, no chance. I don't think anyone's ever seen an aurora from Greece. But hopefully here, maybe one day if I go up to Scotland, I can see an aurora. Maybe.
Let's go on a Pop Astro jolly.
Agreed. Count me in.
Agreed. Thank you. Tim says really interesting as per usual. Thank you very much, Eleni, and see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Oh, Robert, you're still there. Do you want to come on for a minute? Yeah, okay, yeah.
Zero alcohol beer in my hand, but what can I say?
Good. My zero alcohol beer is in the fridge. I'm just interested that you've not seen the aurora for 30 years because I thought you like lived a Brian Cox lifestyle and zipped off to the.
That's so not true. No. You know, the funny thing is, I was out with some friends because, as well as doing this job professionally, I'm not a research astronomer so much these days. But when I was for quite a while, but even then I really liked looking at the sky, and I still do. And we were just out with friends in the South Gloucestershire, a bit to the north of Bristol, in a dark place, just looking at stars. And then we looked to the horizon and we saw these weird things, sort of streaks moving up and down. And there wasn't like this sort of display of it. And then it got brighter and you could see these brilliant green streaks and sort of slight rippling and so on. Not like the amazing overhead displays, but really quite special. And I took pictures, and it was the astro photo I am most proud of, because I had this was before digital cameras. This was 30 years ago. So an old Russian SLR on a tripod took pictures, and when I processed them, which you had to do you remember you sent them off and they came back? And all those things.
Word, yeah.
It seems so old school, wouldn't it? And these slides came back, and and I got prints on them, these phenomenal images of the aurora with all the reds and blues and greens. So I'm so happy. The photo's still on my wall, that picture, but I haven't been able to get another picture. I really want to get another picture of the aurora. I want to see the aurora again. I want to go on the Hurtigruten around Norway. So yeah, I'd definitely be up for any excuse for doing that, I think.
Thank you. Well, that sounds amazing. I've just got something. I'm going to hustle you now before you disappear off. Paul has asked, can you get Robert to join? I'm going to play our new joining video, and you might know some familiar faces on this. So have a little look at this, and then you can tell us if you're going to join the SPA for 23 quid a year. It'd be lovely.
That's it.
When I first started being interested in astronomy, it was just a question of looking up at the night sky, and it is spectacular even if you don't know what you're looking at. But at some point, very quickly, you decide that you want to know more, and the more you know, the more wonderful it gets. SPA has been helping people into astronomy to understand what they're looking at for more than 50 years.
As Brian says, the SPA is a great way to start or accelerate your astronomical adventure. We spoke to our new president, Professor Andrew Coates. Why should people join the SPA?
Well, the SPA is really important to join. It's probably the best society for entry-level astronomers in the UK. And the SPA gives you so many benefits. There's, of course, the magazine. It's great for young stargazers. My colleague Lucy is the chief stargazer.
We have a packed section for the junior stargazer.
I'm Lucy Green, I'm Chief Stargazer, and it's my role to help you all enjoy the fun of astronomy.
If you want to make new astro friends, our interactive chat show is the ideal place.
Then you just float, and it's like that feeling when you're just floating in a pool.
There are so many reasons to join the SPA. What will yours be?
Strongly recommend, if you want to learn a bit more, you join the SPA or go to the website popastro.com.
Blimey, how was that?
That was very, very slick. I'm impressed. Yeah, maybe I will. I used to be, a while ago, and then it just lapsed. So I'm one of those bad members. So perhaps I should just rejoin because I do like your stuff. And I'll be in an illustrious company, obviously. I mean, how can I not join an organisation where people like Andrew Coates and Lucy Green are members?
Yeah, you're the odd one out there, mate.
I'm not comparing myself, but yeah, no, it would be good. It would be good. I'll do it.
Okay. Lovely to see you. I'll let you crack on now. Really lovely to catch up with you again, Robert, and hopefully see you soon.
And you, Vicky. Take care.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. How's that for a bit of hustling, Robin and Paul? There we go. Right, we're going to go over to Sonia now. Sonia, 3, 2, 1. My girl.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Hey, Sonia. Hey, how are you?
I'm very well. It's so nice out there. I'm going to go out and image the moon, I think, in a bit. It's looking very bright out there and shiny. So I'm looking excited that if anyone saw my moon photos on last night, hopefully get some more. I'm not very good at deep sky imaging because I don't really have the go-to telescope or anything. So I just stick to the moon and some star clusters, and that's it, really.
Well, Sonia, I've not got the new magazine yet, and your name is up in paper in the magazine, isn't it?
It is my first magazine I've ever been published in with a photo.
Oh, let's have a look.
So here we go. This is this month's, and then if we meander to the back, there it is. Which way? That way. There we go.
Oh, that's great. Let me go full screen. Here we go. Look at that. So this is one of the benefits of appearing in our magazine, which comes out every 2 months. If we've got these section reports at the back, and you can have your name up in paper. We've got all sorts. We've got planetary. We've got the meteor. We've got solar. Whatever your area of astronomy is, you can hone in on that particular area with the submissions in the back of the magazine, and that's what makes the magazine so special. Plus, it's all voluntary, and we'd love you to join us. Thank you. So, good work there, Sonia. Now, what's your presentation on this week?
I thought I'd bring something different, and I did a bit of Googling, and I thought try and find out some weird but true facts you wouldn't know about weather or space. So I've done quite a few of them, so I'm going to just try and pick out the best ones. I think there's a few that I want people to test out and bring their observing for next week as well and see what they find.
Okay, let's have a look. Weird facts. So Sonia is our weather presenter, amateur meteorologist, and she meticulously compiles the observing forecast every week or every couple of days, which we will go into in a little bit. So here's a screen share. How's that? Is that now there?
Oh, there we go.
I did it.
So welcome to my weird but true facts about weather.
Okay.
Next slide, please.
Next cloud.
Next cloud, yes.
That's what she said last week. She kept saying next cloud by accident. I think you should make that your thing.
I did. So those for you who, I don't drink coffee, so I don't know if this will work or not. So those for you that drink coffee, apparently high atmospheric pressure affects the bubbles in coffee. And if they are close to the centre, we can expect rain. So those who drink coffee...
That's crazy. That's crazy.
So those who drink coffee, please do your observing and tell us what you see next week, if it is actually true or not. We haven't got any rain in the forecast just yet. Maybe mid next week we could have a bit of rain. So it'd be interesting to see if that actually is true. If it does work, depends on the bubbles in your coffee with atmospheric pressure. There you go. I didn't know that at all. And the other one I like on there as well is, so when we have a thunderstorm with the lightning bolts, the area around the lightning bolt is 30,000 degrees Celsius, and apparently it's 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun.
Oh my God. That is hot.
That is very hot.
Oh wow, there's quite a well-known space filmmaker whose name has just completely slipped my mind. It's Stephen, and I can't remember his surname, but he got struck by lightning years ago. Wow.
Oh, and apparently, I don't know, I read something about women get struck more than men, apparently, and 95% of people actually survive a lightning bolt.
Wow, women get struck more by men. Maybe it's because we wear
apparently
more
women
earrings.
get struck more than by lightning, which I found actually bizarre.
More
if
water
anyone-
in our bodies.
I don't-
Jed has started to call you Sonia Witty.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go.
Very
So
good.
we'll go on to the next slide.
There we go.
There we go. So, oh, what happened to my worm there? Oh, there we go. Mr. Worm has appeared. So, what shall we do on this one? So, a raindrop can fall at nearly 20 miles an hour.
Wow.
That is really fast. That's quicker than me running. I'm at about 6 miles an hour.
6. Okay, yeah.
I'm at about 6.5. Yeah, so that's really quick. But did you know Earth can actually be colder than Mars?
Did it?
So logic dictates that the further a planet is from the sun, you'd obviously expect it to be colder as it receives the less sunlight. This means that Mars should be colder than Earth. However, surface temperatures can go as high as 20 Celsius in Mars at the equator, but at the Earth's poles, it can actually reach minus 153 Celsius, which makes Earth sometimes colder than Mars because of the equator poles.
Wow, I did not know that. These are really good.
And just the last one on this one, the heaviest hailstone ever recorded was 2.25 pounds, and it landed in Bangladesh in April the 14th, 1986.
Oh, very good.
There we go. So that's my bit on weather, and I thought I'd bring a bit, some strange facts about the solar system as well. There we go. So we'll start with the next slide. So the one that I will bring on this one is there are rocks on Earth that came from Mars, and we brought them here, and we didn't even know it. So there are rocks found on planet Earth that came directly from Mars. Scientists know this because they contain pockets of gas identical to the chemicals found on Mars. It's believed these rocks landed here due to an asteroid hitting Mars and/or from a volcanic explosion on our neighbouring planets. So we have rocks here from Mars, and we don't know it.
Wow.
That's very interesting. And I could actually do with this with the slide below it saying you grow as much as 5 centimeters in space. Being only 5.5 foot, that would benefit me very much, I think. Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool. That's so cool.
Okay. And space is only 62 miles above us as well. So it takes
I always forget how low it is.
If you was to drive straight up to space, straight up, it would take you less than an hour to get into space, which wow. And it can take some people longer to get to work. So if you could get to space in less time than you can actually get to work.
On the old 182 up the A6.
So, how much do you reckon a spacesuit costs NASA? Because I was reading this, I was like, wow, it costs $12 million to make a spacesuit, which is mostly because of the backpack and the control module. So an astronaut is wearing 12 million pounds of spacesuit. You don't want to get that into. You don't want to get that dirty, do you? Really?
Good work, Sonia.
Oh, and I'll just do the last one in here. So I quite like this one. There are more stars in the universe than sand on all of the Earth's beaches combined. So there are so many stars in our solar system that they outnumber the tiny grains of sand that litter all of Earth's beaches combined. Just within our galaxy, the Milky Way, there's an estimated 200 to 400 billion of stars.
And that's how. Now, I've wondered about that fact because I've heard it a few times and I can never remember which way round it goes. So there are more stars in the universe than sand
on all of Earth's beaches combined. Yes.
Yeah, it's not in our Milky Way. It's in the universe.
So there are more stars in the universe than sand on Earth. So there's more in the universe than the sand on the beaches combined.
I was starting to feel a bit panicky then because I was hoping it wasn't stars in our solar system and grains of sand on the beach, because that would really just pop my head open. Thank God, that was scary. Cool. Any more weird and wonderful facts for us, Sonia?
Oh, so there are probably a lot more out there now, but there is 500,000 pieces of space junk floating around in space. There's probably a lot more now with all these other satellites that are getting put into space. But space junk is defined as any man-made object floating around space. The scientists estimate there are at least 500,000 pieces of space junk currently in orbit. These include fragments from satellites and rockets, as well as tools dropped during construction of the International Space Station.
Wow.
So that's a lot of space
we got any more
junk out
slides?
there.
Oh,
We've got a very last one. Now, the reason I've done this one is because when you mention the planets are named after days of the week. So I particularly left that bit out because I know you know this very well, Vicky, and I thought I'd put you to the test.
You know what, Sonia? I'm going to do something now unprecedented. I'm keeping an eye on the time. And I think that I've just had a glance at that last slide. It looks fantastic. And I think you should do that as the whole thing for next week.
I'm thinking that as well. So I was looking at it and thinking that's a lot to do that. And there's a lot to read. So we will combine that next time of why did planets get their names? And it is really interesting as well. I've even put Pluto in there. Not leaving poor Pluto out.
Oh, excellent. Okay, well, we can look forward to that one next week, Sonia. Do you want to crack... Oh no, yeah. Sorry, John. I'm sorry. He's put there's only one star in our solar system. I meant to say our Milky Way. I'm so sorry. It's past my bedtime, you know. What do you expect? Occasional little slip. I'm so sorry. I know I meant the Milky Way. Don't banish me. So Jed's saying excellent presentation. He's redeemed himself after calling you Sonia Witty.
Oh.
There's only one kind of witty that Sonia is, and that's the funny ha-ha kind.
Right. So you are going to love the weather. Get the balloons out, get the party poppers out, get those banners out. It's going to be clear tonight, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. We can expect some clear skies. England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. There will be a bit more cloud over the weekend, but like the last previous nights, it will clear and we will get clear skies at least by 10 o'clock for most of the country. So England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. It's going to be lovely. It's all changed next Monday, but definitely make the most of tonight, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. It is going to be clear.
Do you know what? I wear a lot of sun cream and I wear a hat, and I was putting my makeup on before and I noticed that I've already got sun freckles coming out on my little nose. That's how good the weather has been lately.
Put the sun cream on tomorrow as well. So they're expecting at least 19 Celsius tomorrow. So it's going to be, they say, a lot warmer than today, but because there's clear skies we can get the cold weather as well. So look after those telescopes outside and those gardens as well. Protect those petunias, protect those tomato plants if you have those growing outside, and put those little sheets over as well. I know my dad used to have those. He used to have that protective things going in the garden. So it may get down to -1, -2 Celsius. The dew point as well, quite cold, -1, -2. Not much in the way of wind, between up to 2 to 6 miles an hour. 30,000 feet, very low as well, up to 6 miles an hour. However, the seeing index is looking extremely good at 8. The transparency of 8 and Pickering of 9 and 0% risk of rain. So absolutely fantastic for the next few nights, at least up until Monday. So I'd definitely be getting those telescopes out.
Oh, Sonia, that's so good. I'm going to try and do one last little thing before we go. It didn't work last time I did it, but let me see if I can do it now. I'm going to try and show what the lunar X is. It's a little X of craters that you're probably going to love to see. So let's have a look. Let me see if I can share this. I don't know when it's next available. Maybe someone could have a quick Google and see when it's going to be. Let me have a look. Stop screen. And then I need to go to share screen again. Share screen. Come on. Work this time now. Oh, please work. Right. Oh, no. Oh, maybe that's worked. Hey, it worked. I'm a screen sharing goddess. This is a lunar X. This is a convergence of, I think it might be 4 craters. I could be wrong there. Let me see if I can zoom in. Is that zoomed in?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, now it looks quite mundane, but I swear to God, popular astronomers, it's really exciting to try and see it. And I'm always quite happy because there's a letter V for Vicky above it as well that can be seen. And it's only a couple of hours that you can see this amazing transient feature. So that's your challenge. Find the Lunar X, draw it, submit it to the magazine.
I shall look at my photos from last night to see if I got it.
Oh God, well that would be a real fluke, but maybe you did. So it's when the moon is at 41%, and I don't know when it's available visible, so we wouldn't like to give you false information, popular astronomers.
No.
So Sonia, it's been so nice. David says you give us some great facts, and you do. And I know what hard work both you and Eleni go to compile these amazing presentations for us. So thank you for your involvement with the SPA. And I'll clear you off now, and I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Sonia. Bye. Oh, it's just me and the Lunar X now. Just me and the Lunar X. Do get to try and see it. I said it looked like an algebraic X. It's just me and Cosmo now, and you, popular astronomers. Thank you so much for joining the show. Thank you to Paul and Robin and Eleni, and who else do we have? Alexandra, Loske, and Robert Massey, and Cosmo, and Wendy. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you. Get your final comments in. We'll count to 10. I'll do this while you all say goodbye. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. If you're good at model making, unlike me, this is available in the Pop Astro shop. You need the eyesight of the Kestrel and the hand steadiness of a neurosurgeon. But if you're up to the challenge and you want to make a lovely shiny Apollo lunar module, available in our shop. So letter X on the rim of the Blanchinus Lacal. I can't read it. It's very small font there. Let's have a look. Blanchinus Lacal and Purback craters. Check. Oh, thank you, John. That's nice. That's why we do it. Just for you. Just for you, John. Cosmo says thank you. Maybe he'll go somewhere a bit more exciting than Kew Gardens this week. Although Kew Gardens is pretty cool. I haven't been. Thanks, Vicky. See you all next week. How was my internet? Was it flawless? Because otherwise we have to ring the technical people and do some really big, heavy-duty conversations with them. It's been a pleasure to have you all. This is good. This is not available from the Pop Astro shop. I just thought I'd point it out. I've been doing it. If you've heard like a little clicking noise throughout the show, it's me with my eternal bubble wrap fidget thing. I'm such a bad fidget, and this has been lovely. Flawless internet. Yes, that's what we want to hear. Thanks, Vicky and everybody. I know how Friday is my feeling. My feeling is so Friday tonight. It means I can lark around tomorrow. I can lark around. We're going to have beach parties this weekend. I live right by the most beautiful beaches. Yes. Amazing show. Oh, thank you. What will we all do tomorrow evening? I'm going to go to the beach, build a fire with my new fire pit. Thank you, everyone. Flawless. Thank you. Oh my God, I'm so happy. Apart from that weird glitch 10 seconds into it. Internet, 10 out of 10. Vernon, you're 10 out of 10 as well. I'll see you all soon, popular astronomers. Hit share right now at the end of this video and propagate some more, and look out for those moon trees. You could have one growing in your garden. The way to tell is it's going to be full of little clangers. And if you can hear a doo-doo-doo-doo swanny whistle going off in the night, that means you've definitely got a moon tree. Catch you all soon. Thank you for the pleasure of your company. It has been divinity. Goodbye.